I would just like, I would pray, but not all the time, not every day. Nuh-uh. I only prayed when I knew I was about to fail a test and I didn't study for it, and I was like, God, please help me, God, please help me. And then when he wouldn't help me, I'd be mad. But like, you didn't work for it. Hey, you guys, I'm Jalis here, and this is gonna be a welcome back to the Jalis and Jaelle channel. This isn't a video that we would normally do, but I just felt like it was really necessary to do because I know a lot of people my age don't know Jesus, which is really sad, but at the same time, a lot of people, period, don't know Jesus, and I just want people to know him because he is the most amazing thing that's ever happened in my life. And he will change your life. So I'm just gonna get right into the testimony. I don't want this to be too long. I know sometimes when videos get long, people like to click out, but we're gonna do a little prayer at the end of this. I'll put like the time. If you want to get saved, I definitely, if you feel moved, if you feel in your spirit, I definitely recommend getting saved because, you know, heaven. I literally look like I'm about to tell a spooky story. Being saved is about going to heaven, yes, but it is more than that. I think sometimes people see it as kind of a get out of hell free card, but you have to love God. Like, there's y'all gonna see in the testimony, y'all gonna see. And I'm just gonna get started with the video. Okay, so pretty much, first of all, I'm Jalis, y'all. I love Jesus, but like, everyone knows that I love Jesus, but it wasn't always this way. It actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is because I see my memories from 2 years ago and then like compare them to how I am now. And the one determining factor, I'm still the same Jalis. I still am goofy. I still like to wear nice clothes. But the one thing that changed is Jesus, and he changed my heart and he changed my life. So it all started, we're gonna go back to 2007, y'all. I'm 15, but it's May 1st, so you know. And I'm a May baby, so we turning 16 soon, okay? But going back to 2007, my earliest memory of God is my dad telling me about him. And one thing about my parents that I will say, and especially to my dad, they really, from a young age, I remember loving God, and I loved going to church. I loved singing the songs. I loved going to my grandma's church. My grandma instilled that with me from a really young age. Like, we went every Wednesday and Sunday. I loved everything about it. Shout out to Miss Rita. I loved seeing her every day. I remember my first Bible verse that I memorized was John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, and whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. And it was really good. It was really nice. I love God. But as I got older, I feel like when you get like into school, I was going to public school, and you like start like getting older and realizing more things. God is not really taught in that, and I think that's very unfortunate. But I did start to drift away from God, and this is where I would say I kind of got lukewarm in my faith, which means like I believed. Am I gonna act like I believe? No. I did have a good heart deep down, but I was very lukewarm. So we're gonna fast forward. This is like in my early childhood. I was still going to church. I still believed in God, but we're gonna skip to probably about middle school. So in 6th grade, I was like very insecure, I guess, about like the way that I looked. And like, I just feel like one thing that the devil likes to do, and I realize this so much, and it still happens to me today, the devil will always attack you, but Jesus is by your side. I would just feel like very ugly to like the point where like it was like really eating at me, and like I was like, this is gonna be really honest, I was just like questioning like, is my life really worth it? Like, do I have a purpose? And it's really crazy because it was all over the way I looked. But the thing about God is that he doesn't look at your outward appearance, but he looks at the heart. So let's skip to about 2 years ago and what made me really want to start living for Jesus. So let's go to 2017. 2017 was probably the peak of my lukewarmness for Jesus. And let me give you some examples. I would go to church, you know, and this is really sad to admit, Lord, please forgive me, but like I would always, like when I saw that people were on fire for Jesus, I didn't hate it. I thought it was really nice, but I always kind of questioned, why doesn't this happen to me? I always questioned God's love for me. People would say that God spoke to them. Remember this. People would say that God spoke to them, and I was like, he doesn't speak to me. When people would be crying at church, I just couldn't relate, and I just honestly thought it was kind of corny. And that's really sad to admit, because there's nothing like experiencing Jesus. But so I was very lukewarm. I'm telling y'all, you can go to church, you can sing every song on the planet, but that doesn't mean you truly know Jesus. And this took me a while, you know. I would not act righteous. I would listen to very inappropriate music. I would just I would pray, but not all the time, not every day. Nuh-uh. I only prayed when I knew I was about to fail a test and I didn't study for it, and I was like, God, please help me, God, please help me. And then when he wouldn't help me, I'd be mad. But like, you didn't work for it, you know? And I would pray if I wanted something. Like it wasn't, I don't know if I prayed for other people's downfall. I really hope not. But I didn't pray for good things. And now this whole time, I think that, I didn't realize this until later, but I think that the devil saw what God was going to do through me, and he wanted to take everything apart. I started to, this is when I was around like 13, 14. This is like in 8th grade. I started to really like worldly things. Like I never did do drugs or drink. That was something that I wasn't against it, but I never did it. Like if I was in a predicament where there was like drugs or something, I wouldn't do them. But I still liked relationships, and I liked really like, this is so cringy. I was filled with jealousy. I just felt like there was a void in my heart that I couldn't fill, and I didn't know what it was. Like I would always like look for something to fill that. Like I would look for like, I don't know, like I would look for like a relationship, or I'd look for a friendship, or I would just be like really jealous. I was very angry, very hating. I liked fighting. I didn't fight, but like I wanted to fight. Like I had like an inquisition. It's really sad to admit, because like this is not me now. I'm trying to think of what else. I cussed a lot. I talked bad about people all the time. I was very two-faced. I wouldn't say I was disobedient, but there was a period when I had blocked all my family on social media, and because I wanted to post stuff that wasn't good. And I had just built up this, I don't really know how to say it, but I didn't like it. I knew it was wrong. I didn't like it. So this is the end of 8th grade. And I remember towards the end of 8th grade, I started reading this book. And I didn't, like today, I didn't even know this book would help me. I had got this from a friend of my dad's. And I know God has a plan for my life, because to my past, with my parents, they had separated for a really long time, but prayer and God brought them back together. But during that separation, I think we all learned a lot. Like me and my sister, my mom and my dad, we all learned a lot. And then when he moved back, we built a family dynamic together through Christ. And I'm just like really happy that, like at the time I didn't see what God is doing, but now I see what God's doing. That's a whole nother video. There's so many instances when I'm like, God, what are you doing? And then I see now and I'm like, oh, that's why he did it. Y'all feel me? Anyways, So my dad wouldn't have met the person that gave me this book if my parents weren't separated. And I'm just really happy that I have this book, because this book is one of the reasons that I found Jesus. So I would read this book, not necessarily applying it. That's what I'm saying. If you go to church, you know, you could read your Bible, this and that, but are you applying it? Are you living like Jesus? You know, or are you just going to go? You know? I want you to ask yourself that question. Are you just going to go? Are you just posting godly quotes? Are you just going to church? Or are you applying it? Are you living for Jesus? Are you living like Jesus? That's a whole other thing. So end of 8th grade rolls around. This is like the last day of school. And I was just super sick with myself, with who I surrounded myself with. Like, I just felt, this ain't right. I was like, I don't want this forever. It was just, I guess you could say, toxic. I was like, I don't want this for myself. I don't want this for anybody, and I need to change. Okay, guys, so I'm editing this, as you can see, and mind my list, because I have a retainer, which got fixed. If you guys want a story time on that, I will definitely tell you. So, as you can see in these clips, I can't really come up with the words to describe how I was feeling. But during this time, I just remember being disgusted with my actions, and I was just like, I really need to change. I just wasn't happy with who I was as a person, and I knew it was going downhill. And then another thing that I didn't explain was that God would wake me up in the middle of the night. At the time, I didn't realize it was God. God really changed my life, and He did a lot of things. But as I was like making these really bad decisions, I would always wake up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like at the same time every night, like 3 nights in a row, and I was like, I need to change. I can't keep living like this. I can't keep. I just was very disappointed with the world around me. It was just like an awareness moment of, you have to change. You have to do better. And if you're feeling that, always act on it, especially because we're in the last days, because you never know if it's gonna be too late. So every night, this is beginning of these time frames kind of suck. This is in June of 2018, and it all started with this book. So I'm not gonna say I had a complete turnaround, but I felt like I needed to find Jesus for who He was, and it happened very slow. It actually happened not slowly, but I wasn't perfect right away. I would still cuss when, and I was listening to really bad music. I really like this. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but like a lot of like Instagram baddies and like Bad Baby, I'm not saying that they're not special or God doesn't love them. He does. But I feel like the media makes it cool to, show off your body, cuss, stick up your middle finger, tote guns. And it's like, what are you gaining from that? What are you gaining from that? And I really liked that. It's disgusting, guys. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just like thinking back, and like the things I would say about people was terrible. So that's what I'm saying. So I started reading this book, and I started praying every night. And this is before I knew you could pray on your knees. And this is before I started reading my Bible. But we gonna go to that. So I started reading this book, and I started praying, and I felt like God told me, hey man, you gotta cuss some people out. So I did some rearranging in my friendships, my relationships. It was easy to cut people off because it was over summer. And I was like, and I'm not saying that any of these people are bad people. These people are really good people. I still follow them on social media. It's just that they weren't right for me at the time, and maybe they're not right for me, period. And God has a different path for their lives, and our paths are totally different. So I started reading this book, and I was like, okay, I think I like this, you know? I think this is going to be great. But I never knew it was going to be how it is now. I was just like, I mean, you know, it was just like I had a sick feeling. I was like, I don't want to live like this forever. Mind you, let me tell y'all, this book and my Bible, this is really sad. They were collecting dust. I never touched them. I never read the Bible. I never read this book. I never did. And I claim to be a Christian. I'm not saying that reading a book depicts if you're Christian or not. But the way I was acting was not Christian-like. It was not right. So I noticed sort of a shift in how I acted during this time. Like, I was a really big fan of rap music. And I still am, you know, I still dabble in my Gavi and my Lecrae and my Andy Mineo. But I remember I added one song. It was only one song to my playlist. It was Break Every Chain by Tasha Combs. Or Cobbs, I'm sorry. I'll list it here. And, you know, I would listen to it and I would feel so much better. But, you know, after that song played, I'd play Big Bang. I would just play like a lot of other rap songs. And it's a process, you know. I'm still guilty of doing that. I was doing that like 3 months ago. So God can change you in a short amount of time. But I found myself praying. Like, I found myself wanting to pray. I found myself wanting to be nice to people. And God will test you too. Because, I need to talk about this. But God will test you. Because I was put in a predicament. Oof, this is how I know God is working. I was put in a predicament where I could have lashed out. I could have acted in anger. I could have been very negative and nasty. But the day before in this book, the day before the incident happened, I read this book and it said something along the lines of being like Christ. And when someone says anything to you that you don't like, you don't always have to react. You pray for them and you move on. And that was hard for me to do. You know, I'm not so much anymore, to be honest. But I was the type of person that, like, you can literally tell me that 2 + 2 is 4, and I'm like, no, it's not. But yeah, so I just saw little changes in myself, and I really ended up liking it. But the thing with that is, as soon as you turn yourself to Christ, the devil gets mad. He gets mad because he doesn't have you anymore. And he wants to win that battle. He wants to have you on the dark side. He wants to put you down. I was sad. I wasn't happy with how I was living, but I still continued to do it. I still listen to what the world told me to do. You know? The world doesn't show people praying when they're sad. Nah, you buck. You fight back. That's not right. It's not right. You need to... I hope I'm getting to y'all. So when I started praying, the devil had got mad. And how I know I didn't realize this then. You know, I'm thinking, let me stop. But there was this certain boy, and he never had any interest in me, to be honest. But as soon as I turned to Jesus, guess who want to pop up? All these boys want to pop up. And at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that these people really wanted what's best for me, but in turn, they just wanted to use me. And I think the devil wanted to take my focus off of, the devil wanted to say, oh, guess who's texting you? Look at you, come on, focus on that. And it was hard, of course. I focused on it. I ain't gonna say the devil didn't trick me, you know? I focused on it. But I didn't let it get in between me and God. And there was times when it would be really hard because it was just like, I remember, it's not always easy. Like, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. But it is, I'm telling y'all, it is the best decision that I have ever made in my whole life. Like, I just feel so much better. And that whole summer, I was just, like, praying. And then... like, I felt like a new person. I felt like I don't need something to fill the void. The void has been filled with Jesus.